Hi, y'all, and welcome to Monday night's All Meta Mode podcast with Gypsy and myself, Amanda Digger DeGauze. Before we get started with tonight's show, just a reminder, the March issue of Dirt Digest magazine is available at dirtdigestmagazine.com. This is a monthly treasure hunting magazine that is based online. You can either download a version or you can go and view it live. So go to dirtdigestmagazine.com to check out March's issue. I think that's actually it that I have for tonight for helpful reminders. So, hey Gypsy, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good. It's been a rainy day here in Texas and a little cool, but tomorrow it's supposed to warm up, so hoping to get out and dig. How about you?
I'm doing all right. Got to actually get out for an hour or two yesterday. So that was good. It was I called it fake spring. It was so it was 40 degrees by the water, and I went and checked out my pebbly beach that has its treasures, and they plowed the snow onto the top of the beach, so it's been slowly melting for the past couple days, and all of that is basically wiping the beach. So right off the bat, I was able to find a couple buttons and lead bale seals, and then I found these weird I think they're parts of a buckle. I don't know. Everything is still in a bag. I haven't cleaned it yet, so I'm definitely going to have to do that and check them out a little bit more. But I know right before I left, I was just kind of looking at the ground instead of, detecting or anything like that. And I spotted a whole bunch of beads, little sea beads. So I got down low, and they're like an opalescent, translucent color type of bead. So that was cool. Yeah. And I didn't wait for the tide to go out. I should have, because technically the sun is finally setting after 6 p.m.
Yes.
So that's a big. I'm finally having a little bit more daylight, but actually the winds are coming in tonight, and we're supposed to, I believe, drop to freezing, maybe below freezing tonight. And all day tomorrow. It's supposed to be really cold, so I just can't wait for spring. Can't wait. But how was your travels? I know you went out east, right? East Texas?
Yeah, it was good. It was really good. So I am, my parents live in East Texas, so I travel to East Texas quite often, to visit my parents, and maybe going to East Texas a little more frequently because of my dad's health, having some health issues. And anyway, went up there to check on my parents, and while I was there, most of you know I'm a member now of a metal detecting club, which I haven't been for quite a long time, since the last club I had started. I joined this club because my friend had invited me to be the guest speaker there in East Texas, and so it's Smith County Treasure Club, or Metal Detecting Club, I guess is what it is. And I was visiting, and my care was actually scheduled to go speak be their guest speaker this last month. And unfortunately, we had the big Texas snow apocalypse. So it got moved a week, and then he had company, in-laws coming into town, so he wasn't able to make the meeting. So there were maybe 5 people there, if that, 5 or 6. We're all spread out because of COVID and everything. And anyway, long story short, they're going, hey, well, since Gypsy's here, Gypsy, you mind getting up here and being our guest speaker today and telling us about your thing on Gold Rush with Freddie Dodge and that experience. So I talked a little bit about that, and I talked about, Mike Hare from Dirt Digest magazine and All Metal Mode podcast that he was sorry, he couldn't make it and hoping to get back and be a guest speaker for him in the future, hopefully. And anyway, but it turned out really cool because I brought my finds that I found that Sunday after the big snow apocalypse. I had gotten to get out and go detecting and test the ACE Viper coil on the ACE 400, and I'd found a few things, and so I brought the things from that hunt that I found and I put them in the Finds of the Month contest, and I won like every category. I put them in 'cause there was nobody at the meeting to compete against. Most people that brought something, there were a few finds entered, but anyway, it turned out to be a really good hunt. So I racked up on some silver coins for giveaways and stuff on my channel and my Facebook page and stuff. And hopefully, maybe I'm thinking about, I know you are on TikTok now, and TikTok's really growing. So I was thinking about maybe doing a giveaway on TikTok. I don't know, maybe you can help me figure out how to do that. Maybe I can do one for All Metal Mode.
Nice. I'm still a relative newbie to that, so I don't know. I'm still learning too.
I am too. I think I've got like barely 200 followers, and I've only been on there for maybe 2 or 3 months, if that. I don't even know. Like, it took me forever to post like my first video, or I posted my first video and it wasn't even a video. It was just like some photo video thing.
But 60 seconds, yeah. You can sure show some treasure in 60 seconds, I realize. I'm like, oh, that works. Can.
I've been watching some of your videos, and like, just even, I don't know what it is, but is it not cool when you're out there and you're walking, like, and when you're out there surface finding your stuff and you're finding just a marble, and I'm like, oh, that's a pretty marble. It's like, I can just sit there and watch that stuff all day. They're really short videos, and the music, is always good. You can just scroll through there. It's really fun. So if y'all get a chance, check out Amanda's TikTok page if you're on TikTok. It's kind of the new thing, the new craze. So if you're not on there, you should definitely check it out and hop on there and check out some of the videos. There's lots of metal detecting and other types of treasure hunting and fossil hunting, you name it, gold prospecting, all about that. So we had a question, I know Wayne, Nugget Brain Wayne in chat was asking how many of those in chat or listening tonight are going to be going to the Charles Garrett Memorial Hunt coming up in April. Should be there. So I hope to see some of y'all there. So let's hope so. How many major snowstorms coming?
I was wishing. I mean, I missed the Beep the Beach was this past Saturday, and I realized it's the first time, I think, in 3 or 4 years that I didn't make it to the beach hunt in February, so I was kind of bummed by that, but there'll be more hunts. The Garrett hunt would be awesome. I think I'm going to have to hold off. I might end up being at Bone in April, which is right after the Garrett hunt. I
Oh,
think it's
that's
the
right.
week.
You were talking
Yeah.
about that.
Yep. So those that don't know, Bone is Best of New England. It's put on by George Streeter, and it's held in New Hampshire. So it's not too far. I think it's like a 3-hour drive for me. So might end up just making it in the mornings and heading over and doing maybe Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or Wednesday, Thursday. But yeah, it'd be good.
Cool.
So I know
Well,
you and
that
I,
sounds neat.
yeah, I know you and I were going back and forth on, I know I've had quite a few beginners reach out to me, and I think you said you have as well. And, between the tools and hints, we thought we might go over those a little bit.
Yeah, so we were going to talk tonight a little bit about beginners, and I know a lot of you in chat aren't beginners. You've been probably detecting way longer than Amanda and I. But a lot of you can throw in some suggestions and stuff. But some people that consider themselves newbies sometimes have been detecting more than 1 or 2 years. But I get questions probably, if not daily, definitely weekly, metal detector suggestions, digging tool suggestions, all of that. And there's what's so different about when I started is, now we can go to YouTube, we can go to, like we were just discussing, we can go to TikTok, we can go to, so many things. We can Google stuff, and then all the stuff will pop up on, everybody's opinions on what's the best detector to start with, what's the best digging tool, what's the best pinpointer, et cetera. But for me, I'll start with for me, and then maybe you can expound upon this. For me, when I first started, like I've said before on here, I started out with like a Radio Shack brand, and I found my first ring with it, and it's great for getting started because you will find stuff with it. The main difference is in those beginner models. I call them beginner models. Now, as you know, there's beginner models that usually cost anywhere from $50 to maybe $200, wouldn't you say? About? What do you think?
Yeah.
Give or take?
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah.
About $200. And
I mean,
those will find things. They'll
yeah.
work,
I think
but
Walmart and Dick's might even have them for like, they might have machines
even less,
starting at
29.
60 and 80 and
Yeah. I think Harbor Freight even has one for like 35 something,
Yep.
And, those are great for getting started. They're also good for kids and stuff if you just don't want to break the bank. But really, I've tested those machines out, and a lot of them you just don't get the depth. So what you're getting with a machine like that, you're getting something that will work, but you're not getting any depth. They're great for hunting around little kids' playground, the sand or the mulch and stuff like that. But in some types of soils they're good. But I found out the hard way that when I took it to the beach, that you take it to the wet sand and it goes berserk. And a lot of your modern VLF machines that even are more pricey will go berserk.
Yep.
So there was a lot of stuff that I didn't know about metal detecting, and I kind of had to find out the hard way. But for me, and see what you think, I would say there's the beginner models that are, like we said, $35, $60 to 200 up to about $200. And then I call them a mid-range detector. Can you think of another word that might describe that better? I don't know.
No, I think that works for it.
Okay, like a mid-range, and mid-range could probably be anywhere from, anything above 200. It kind of depends on what features the detector comes with, of course, and but up to maybe, what would you say?
I
Three,
was going to say 350.
400.
Yeah.
Yeah, about 350. And then you have some detectors that bump up to, 350 and above. And I would call those more of a pro detector or high-end detector. What would you call those?
Yeah, high performance maybe, but yeah, definitely a lot a
Sounds
bigger,
much better.
larger, yeah, definitely a bigger price tag on them. And at the same time, though, when we talk machines and stuff too, I noticed the one question that nobody ever really asked those that are actually trying to look into getting a new machine is, where are you going to be detecting? Like, where are you
Exactly.
predominantly going to be detecting? I know that our soil here is very different from the soil with you, Gypsy, in Texas. I know that if you're, going to do salt water, the beaches on saltwater are going to be very different from those beaches that, might be just lakes and stuff in different areas. So that's one of the big questions too. So some of those machines you can immediately cross off as, nope, that won't work. Or nope, that one won't work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And a lot of this, what a lot of people don't realize, maybe they're not new to metal detecting, but they have a detector that the technology that they've had and they love for the last 15 years, and they won't upgrade. I mean, do you see what I'm getting at?
Yep.
Technology has come so far where you can usually just upgrade for, I mean, these days you could buy what are considered mid-range price detectors that are really, the technology is pretty much high-end or high-tech technology, if you will. And it's amazing where technology has come. And sometimes just by making that simple upgrade from an old machine to a newer technology can really change the finds that, I mean, you can go back over some of the same areas you've pounded in the past, and boom, it's like detecting a whole new property sometimes.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, not just so obviously you kind of need the machine to get started too, but one of the things is, if you don't have the machine and you're interested in metal detecting, is getting to know the rules in the different towns. Do you need a permit? Do you need to, I know some you actually have to submit for approval to get a permit, and some you can talk to, I forget. It's like that place we went to in, was it Vermont or New York, Gypsy? And we got the okay, like verbal okay to go do it.
Yeah.
So checking out your city's rules and guidelines, or different states' rules and guidelines, is a really good idea. And most of that can be found online. If you, metal detecting law, and you put in your state or whatnot, I think there's probably a bunch of different forums too that have information on it.
Yeah, and a lot of times you can go to the city. Now, cities and states, each state and cities sometimes it varies and is different. So you want to make sure you check out all the regulations. Make sure you're not, going on some property that is considered, there's, different things. Like, I was asked that recently about river hunting, and I talked to Keith Wills. He has even been to Congress and helped, fight for laws and stuff for us to be able to detect in certain places. And it's a tricky question sometimes, because what I usually try to tell people is exactly what you said. Go to the internet, go to the city, find out city ordinances, go to your state laws, state places, and find out what the rules, because, even here in Texas, I have found out, a lot of times they say that state parks are just totally off limits, but I've found that sometimes if you ask at the gate, just like that park you and I ask at, especially at parks where you have to pay, that it's probably state-owned or privately owned, where, you've had to pay to get in sometimes or something like that. If you will ask, a lot of the times they'll just say, yeah, no problem, or they'll just say, well, you can only detect in this area. So be sure and know and understand the laws of the local area, because you don't want to get in trouble. And I'm sure some of you all know about the people that were arrested in Texas at one of the state parks down in, I think it was Corpus. So you don't want that happening to you. So just be cautious, be careful. And sometimes it's not as, that's why when I even go to parks or city parks where I think it's perfectly fine, I make sure, like usually there's a sign posted that'll say, park rules. So I'll read the park rules and make sure it's not listed there, because I've seen it listed sometimes.
Yeah.
Absolutely no metal detecting. So.
I do have to say, and too, like the other thing is, like I started on a budget. So I mean, I the dollar store and Home Depot were two of my friends at that time, and I got the 99-cent nailing, like the Home Depot canvas belt type thing that you can hold your fines and your trash. And then, the dollar store, you can get a little spray bottle, to spray your fines. And I guess I'm a weakling. I enjoy having knee pads. I find that the gel knee pads that they've got at Home Depot are a godsend on really cold ground, really frozen ground, really wet ground, really dry ground, really concrete ground. My knees appreciate it.
My knees do too. Getting old and getting down to dig and all that. My knees. Oh, that's one thing that bothers me if I forget my knee pads or something. So I have a backup pair of knee pads. And you mentioned on a budget, I'd picked up at the Dollar Tree of all things, where everything's just $1. You can buy one knee pad for $1, so you get two knee pads for $2. And those things, I use them all the time, and I use them for backup. Like if someone's going with me to go digging and they don't know that they need these things, just like we have extra gloves and stuff like that. I always try to have that as like a backup pair, and to throw them in my backpack or in the back of my car. So those things have for these old knees that tend to be getting worse and worse with age. I definitely have to have my knee pad.
Yeah, the knee pads, the gloves. I actually had to do that. I was telling you the trick where when I bottle dump dig, because the gloves, I don't care. You can get non-cut through gloves, blah, 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 blah. That's all well and good, I guess, if you're going side to side. But if you're digging and you go to and you impale yourself on glass, it cuts through those gloves. So I actually had a cut on my finger. So when I went to go this weekend, I didn't want all the brackish water or to get anything in it. So I do the Band-Aid, and then I have electric tape, because it's easier to put on and easier to take off over the Band-Aid than duct tape. Duct tape works too, but
So true.
the electric, like that electric tape that you can get at Home
You talking
Depot.
about the black electrical
Yep,
tape? That's what
black,
you're talking
because you
about?
can
Okay.
yep. And so I did the Band-Aid, and then I wrapped my fingertips in that, so that way I'm not slicing my fingers up or getting stuff if I already have a cut and I just don't want it to get infected. I know that that's one of my. But yeah, that electric tape you get at Home Depot over a Band-Aid, I'm like, and you do those under gloves, that definitely protects your fingers a little bit more than
Right.
just than spending, I think it was like $35 on those non-cut through gloves, and those lasted all of like maybe an hour digging at a dump one time. And then it had
Yeah.
tons of holes in them, and I'm like, oh really? Hmm.
That's what happens to me when I go, not even necessarily dump digging, but when I go river hunting, like when I go to the Guadalupe a lot, I dig with my hands because it's too rocky. It's a lot of times you're moving big rocks and stuff kind of out of the way, and I have to dig with my hands. So the ends, I can go through one pair in one day of digging in the river, where my fingertips are just like all the
Yep.
way. So I just end up throwing them away. So that's when I do go for those cheapy gloves, with the rubbery
Yep.
ends on them.
Yep.
And then I usually save my cut proof, like you were talking about the cut proof gloves that I usually order on Amazon. You can get them, some of them can be fairly inexpensive, some of them can be pricey, so you have to be careful. But I usually save those for the dump. The only thing I found with them, and I don't know if it's with you, but those, they may be cut proof, but the dirt gets piled and compacted in
Yes. Yes. So
there.
in the back of my truck, well, when it's not freezing out, I keep like one of those that like the Gatorade, the big sports jug type thing, but I fill it, it's full of water, and then I carry a little thing of Dawn dish soap. So that way I
Hmm.
just put the jug off the edge of my truck and I can wash my hands underneath it. So I'm not painting my face with the mud and the dirt and then, trying to drive home or stop somewhere after. And that's been really helpful too, is having that in the back of the truck.
Yeah.
Especially with poison
Now,
ivy, if you can, do the Dawn real quick too, it should help take it off, the oils.
right. Well, I have a friend, y'all probably seen him if you've watched any of my recent videos. I have a friend that had showed me where this dump is, and she dug it for years, and then she found me from my YouTube channel and invited me up to go digging with her. And so we were bottle digging, and this last time we went, her arms got broken out really bad. I mean, really bad. And this time, though, we couldn't see any poison ivy. It could have possibly been poison oak, but she's thinking that more that it's something from the actual dirt that we were digging in. I don't know. But what I went and did for the next time I go to that dump, just because I was so filthy afterward and I want to go get in my car and not get it all filthy, is I bought those painter jumpsuits,
Yep. Yep.
those little paper ones. I bought a couple of those, and I'm going to try that out hopefully next week if I get to go back to that dump. I'll let y'all know how that works, because if I can just, have you ever used them?
No, I actually purchased at the dollar store. I got one of those plastic, like the plastic shower curtain.
Ooh, yeah.
So that way, if I'm wet from being in the river or muddy or covered in dirt, I have one of those to throw on my seat so it keeps it
To
dry
throw
and
on
dirt
your
free,
seat.
and then I could just hose it off and let it
Smart.
dry. Yeah. Yep. But
That's
no,
that's very smart.
the suit thing is a good idea too. I mean, I think you and I had talked too when we were at the button dump before
Mhm.
before masks, really became a thing.
Yeah.
I'd wear I'd wear masks
A
in the
mess.
dump because of the dust and
Yeah.
all the stuff that was thrown away. You have batteries that were thrown in there, old
Probably
mercury
some
stuff.
asbestos.
Yeah, definitely asbestos. So, found that really helped too, because I know that, you spend 8, 12 hours digging at a dump and you're not wearing anything or
Mhm.
whatnot. I know I've come out before and gone to blow my nose, and it's like I've been in a mine all day, and it was so gross.
Yeah.
And the next morning you wake up
That's
with
what.
the cough that it's like, what have you been
that,
breathing?
that was one of my friends that dug this last time in the dump with me. If y'all watched the dump video, her name's Cinder, and she's actually my son. Her and her husband are my son's boss, and so I sneezed that day, and all of a sudden, all this dirt came out of my nose. It was gross. and and so I did not wear a mask that day.
Hmm.
And anyway, her husband, I had messaged them both, and her husband messaged me back and said, "Yep, she had mud literally coming out of
That's
her
so
nose." And we're
bad.
both like, "Okay, we're wearing masks next time." Oh my goodness! But yeah, you and I talked about that too in that button dump. But that's something. If I do get to come up, since it's COVID anyway, if I do get to travel, that's just extra. Definitely have my plenty of mask with me anyway. Just wear it to the dump. Keep from breathing in all that stuff for sure. But let's see. We had some stuff in the chat.
Yeah. Wayne had also mentioned the first aid kit, and yes, the first aid kit is very important to kind of have with you. You'll never know when you need it, and it's usually when you need it that you don't have it. So it is something good.
Exactly.
I have one in just about every bag. So whether I'm mudlarking, dump digging, detecting, there's one in each one of those, so I'm not having to remember to take it out and flip flop it.
Yeah,
Um,
that's what I do too. I keep one all the time in my car, but I also have one in my backpack, and I think another one somewhere in the back of my car. And I know Wayne had mentioned earlier, he'd made a good point too. Now, here in Texas, it's more prevalent, I'm sure, in the summertime and even sometimes in the winter, because it doesn't get as cold here, snakes. And it's good to have either a snakebite kit with you, or it's good to have, he mentioned snake chaps. I know that they make them now, these snake chaps that are good. And those are good for keeping, just the briars and all that other stuff, and protecting you from all that stuff too. And I know we've talked about ticks, and Bill from Ohio, can tell us more about that. I know he had his terrible experience with ticks. So we encounter so many things, and we've talked about this before on here, and quite in depth. But it's always better to be prepared. I always have the sunblock, and I have the insect repellent. All of that goes in my backpack, and so it has gotten to be such a necessity to always carry a backpack with you, no matter where you are metal detecting. So you, especially if I know I'm not going to be close to my vehicle, that's when I definitely grab my backpack, and I know I usually got everything I need in there.
it's funny, I know I've talked about this before too, but I just picked up another thing of mace to carry in a
Smart.
different bag. It was funny though, the conversation I had, and it was an Army surplus store, and they were trying to get me to get the a gel, so it shoots out like silly string, I guess, but it's meant more
Yeah.
for inside, I guess. That way you're not dousing everyone else with it. And I was like, oh, no, no, no. This is not for inside. I want the stuff that will douse everything. And explained it. And they're like, oh, yeah, you know what you want. Yep, I do. The other thing, too, for me, and it's probably you as well, you're in the water some, detecting and whatnot. But I found that in the last year, actually, river hunting, whether it's pulling up bottles or detecting or, that type of thing, carrying that pocket knife in your pocket is incredibly important if you're in the water. I know there were quite a few times last year I actually got entangled, just walking, catching fishing line that had been left. And it would get caught, and I'm like, oh my gosh, because you're trying to balance and not sink in the mud or on the rocks, and you're, over waist deep in water, and that pocket knife comes in very handy to snip it. So
I have, when I water hunt in the river, I have a small pocket watch that is attached to my my goodie bag, my mesh bag. And I can't tell you how many times I've used that, like you said. And I've even used it to dig out finds out of crevices that nothing else was working. And I know sometimes that can damage your find, but when all else fails, sometimes you got to go with what you have. But anyway, that is the pocket knife. I can't say enough about pocket knife. One other thing that I recently purchased, since you and I have been discussing this, but I will be testing a Blue 3 Nemo dive system where the air tank floats on top, and you have now I know Loy is in the chat, and I think he's used one of these before too, and he does scuba diving as well. But I just purchased, and it was really inexpensive. I got 2 diving knives. Nice. Now, the reason why I bought 2 is because I could buy 2 for like the price of 1.
Yeah.
And what I'm going to do is I will put one on my arm and one on my leg when I'm under there, because if, say, my airline was to get caught and I couldn't get up, I could cut that with one of those. Or if I were to get tangled in something, those things are lifesavers in that life or death situation as well. So I ended up with 2 of them.
Oh, that's smart.
And anyway, Loy says that he loves the Nemo. I'll be testing a Nemo out soon. They're going to be sending me one to test, so I'll have some test videos. I'll also be writing a article for Dirt Digest magazine and telling more about my experiences with testing the Nemo. So I'm really excited about that, and hopefully if I get to come visit you in the near future, we'll see what happens. I can bring that because this is something that you can travel with, and we can test it out in our spots we were talking about. So.
Yeah, and who knows, you might get here and I might have one. Still going back and forth on it. That would be awesome. Yeah, yep.
I can understand. It's a little, it's a chunk of money, but it sure beats buying the diver's tanks and having all that on your back and all that. There's just so many pluses, I think, to it. Of course, you can't dive as deep. Well, I mean, you could if you had longer tubes, but, that's a whole nother ball game. So I'm looking forward to testing that out soon. So maybe we'll do a podcast just dedicated to the Nemo. And Loy, we might bug you and have you as a guest one night, and someone that's used it. So that would be great. Any questions, any thoughts, anybody want to drop in the chat? Anything you saw that I missed?
I thought I saw somebody asking about belts, and I'm not sure if it's the same type of belts. I mean, I always have a belt, and that's what I hook my lash in, and um, yep, I have matches in a plastic,
That's
prescription
smart.
bottle. Yeah, with a little scraper thingy. So I've got that. I also just picked up those water filtration systems, the portable ones that look like a little like air pump type
Yeah.
thing. I just got one of those to be able to throw in my bag. I mean, those are for when definitely detecting and you're an hour or two away from your vehicle. Um,
You don't want to get dehydrated out there.
correct. Yeah. Um, but it's also in the event that, in a worst case scenario. um,
Right. Hmm.
the other thing, um, I know some people, it was funny because I think it was Mike last time talking about, was it pooping in the woods? So yeah, there's always toilet paper in my bag. But one of the things too is I know some people, I'm like, I don't have toilet paper. I'm like, well, take a sock off, or, there's leaves. I'm like, but be careful what
There's
leaves you're
leaves.
using. um, so,
Right. I always carry a roll of toilet paper, and I usually carry, besides a roll of toilet paper in my backpack, I keep paper towels in the car as well.
yeah.
My car is like my living metal detecting gypsy wagon for sure. I keep so much stuff in there. Um, the little stuff, I don't keep anything. Um, Recently, my friend Zola was out metal detecting in the woods, and she wasn't all that far from her car. And apparently, somebody was watching her and waited till she got out. And they broke her window and got in. So make sure you're not leaving anything, you never know, important in your car, like extra metal detectors or anything like that. Um, but I I try to keep, you know, extra headphones sometimes, and since I never know exactly what opportunity might present itself, because what happens to me is you don't know. Let's just say you go detecting and there's this river behind on the property, and you want to go get in the water. So I want to have my waterproof metal detecting headphones with me, or et cetera, stuff like that. So it's best to always be prepared. Now, this is stuff that you won't gather. You don't want to go purchase all of this stuff just starting out, but it's just something that you will find over time that you can add all this stuff to your what do you want to call it?
Your arsenal.
Arsenal.
uh,
Yeah, repertoire.
uh,
Um,
I do have to say too,
but
yeah,
yeah.
it's the pocket knife comes in handy too. I know I've gotten a pretty bad cut before, and most of the time I don't obviously wear my the nicest fanciest clothes while I'm detecting, so it's stuff I don't mind that gets destroyed, or um,
Mm-hmm.
things like that. So I've actually used the pocket knife to cut a shirt to bandage myself before too. So the pocket knife comes in handy with stuff like that.
So
Um,
handy.
Yes.
Something people have been commenting on my channel a lot lately, and it's because I take my gloves off usually, or at least one glove, to video when I'm out videoing, and they're
Hmm.
going, I can't believe you're not wearing a glove. And I'm like, or gloves. And I'm like, I'm wearing gloves. I promise you, I'm extremely careful. Learn the hard way,
Yes. Learn the hard way. Not just once, not just twice, probably like 20 or 30 times. Or you're just like, oh, I'm only
So,
going to detect for a minute. I've got a few minutes to kill. I don't need my gloves right now. And yeah. Uh,
Yeah. Oh gosh.
but heck,
Um,
what do we know after, many, many years of detecting?
yeah. Hey, I never thought about that, but Wayne had mentioned something that could be, if you have any medications or health issues, it's good to carry something on you. I know some people even have the bracelets that they have to wear for heart issues or certain medications they're on and something. And that's something good to stick in, like he said, in your glove box or your backpack, because EMTs, he said EMTs will look, especially when there's, if they're there to save your life, like if you're allergic to something, some people are allergic to certain medications that the medics, the EMT may give them. So that's very smart. Good idea there, Wayne. I've actually never thought of that, but great, great info to
Yeah.
think about, especially if you have any major health issues, to keep that in your backpack or somewhere on you, wallet, I don't know.
That's funny.
You know what I
I
mean?
I actually I have one medication that I have to have, that I carry. There's one in my digging pouch, there's one in my backpack, there's one in my side bag for when I mudlark. But metal detecting, I'll tend to have, it in the backpack as well as the digging pouch. I never thought about actually putting a note, but that probably makes sense. So if they opened it up and were like, "What in the heck is this?" they'd know she might need that.
Right. And I mentioned earlier we were talking about snake stuff. I carry a snakebite kit now in my backpack, but and Wayne had mentioned about the snake chaps and stuff. I have snake boots now, but I want to say this: we weren't metal detecting, but this was when I was way younger. My brother and I were at a camp, and he got bit by a rattler, a baby rattler, and if it wouldn't have been for the owner of the property having a snakebite kit, my brother may not be even alive. The doctor said that he would have probably lost his hand or possibly even his arm.
Wow.
So thank goodness for a snakebite kit.
So that's
So
why I live where the air hurts my face, is to be away from those animals.
when you come visit in Texas, we
Uh,
might encounter some critters. Uh, I'm scared of encountering alligators in Florida, man, because I'm seeing some Florida videos at some of the springs and stuff, but occasionally there's an alligator. I want to go water hunting in some of those. Anyway, that's stories for another day. Loy posted, Loy posted in chat. He did a review on the Nemo, the air tank hookah diving system. So if y'all want to check that out, be sure and click on that. And I don't know, we've got a lot of people already. I know Loy headed on over to get ready for his. Should we go ahead and wrap it up early this evening?
yeah, we'll do that.
Unless any of you have any
Let everyone mosey on
thoughts.
to Relics Roundup. Relics
Alrighty.
Radio.
Well, it's been fun. I think we had fun rambling about. I love it.
Rambling. So it's basically taking a look at what I do have in stock for this upcoming year and going, okay, I need new this, I need new that. Perhaps, the gloves that I have that no longer have fingertips, I should replace.
Yeah, I finally threw away some of those because some of them I tried to tape. I was like, I ain't doing it anymore. Wayne says, be sure on Tuesday nights, join Ed's show that is Flashing Your Pen on YouTube. Y'all be sure and check that out. Wednesday night, I will be on a guest on the Copperheads.
Oh, they're
And
awesome. Yeah.
honestly, I don't know if that's on Facebook or YouTube or it'll stream on both. I think they're using Yardstream, so maybe you know.
Nice.
So I'll probably post more. I know on my YouTube, you can go to my YouTube. My YouTube. You can go to my Facebook Zero Discrimination group, and I posted. Someone had posted on there about it, so I'll be sure and share it again before Wednesday night. So hope to see y'all then. You all, thank you so much for listening. We appreciate all of our loyal listeners and our new listeners. And please share our links with your friends. Invite people. We appreciate all of you, and we thank you very much. If you have any suggestions for future shows, please let us know. We appreciate you all.
And
you all have a wonderful night.
And we do have guests coming up too, so it's not going to be just you.
Yes.
You won't have to suffer through Gypsy and I.
Yes, we do have some guests lined up, so we've been working on some for quite a while. And if y'all have any suggestions as well, be sure and let us know. Thank you all for listening, and you all have a wonderful night.
Good night, all.
Good night.